Hello friends. From today we are going to make the chapter-wise explanation of a book which belongs to stock market investing, how he made $2 million in the stock market, because in YouTube there are a variety of book summary but not a quality chapter-wise explanation videos, so to come over this problem we are going to make book explanation from today. So the author of today's book is Nicholas Darvas, and this book is divided into 5 units which consider of 14 chapters. So starting with the first chapter. Canadian period. It was November 1952. When author's agent telephoned. He had received an offer for author and his dancing partner, Julia, to appear in a Toronto nightclub. This was owned by twin brothers, Al and Harry Smith. They offered to pay author in stock instead of money. He had had some strange experiences in show business, but this was a new one. They were prepared to give him 6,000 shares in a company called Brilland. This was a Canadian mining firm in which they were interested. The stock at that time was quoted at 50 cents a share. 2 months later, he idly glanced at the stock's price in the paper. His 50-cent Brilland stock was quoted at $1.90. He sold it at once and made a profit of close to $8,000. He made up his mind to go into the stock market. He knew absolutely nothing about the stock market. He was not even aware, for instance, that there was one in New York. All he had heard about were Canadian stocks, particularly mining shares. He asked everybody and met if they had any stock market information. He bought stock in companies whose names he could not pronounce. What they did and where they came from, he had no idea. Someone told someone who told him. He asked several people if they knew a good, reliable broker, and eventually he was recommended to one. Early in 1953 he must admit he was startled and disappointed when he found his office. It was a tiny, dingy, prison-like room full of books, with strange scrawls on the walls. When he asked him if he knew a good stock he reacted at once. He smiled and pulled out of his pocket a dividend check bearing the name of a famous gold company, Curadison. Broker stood up and said, "That dividend check is worth 5 times what his father paid for the original stock." It looked beautiful to him. He did not realize broker had probably been holding his father's stock for 30 years. The little man described to him how he had been looking for that kind of stock for years. In view of his father's success he felt the answer must be in gold mines. He confided to author that he had at last found it. It was called Eastern Malartic. He reckoned that these gold mines were capable of twice their present gold production, therefore $5 invested in their stock would soon be worth $10. He immediately bought 1,000 shares of Eastern Malartic at 290 cents. Within weeks it was down to 241 cents, and he hastily sold his stock. He decided this broker did not have the answer to making a fortune. He did not even understand about brokers' commission and transfer taxes. For instance, he bought Carand Mines. It was a 10-cent stock, and he bought 10,000 shares. When next day Carand went to 11 cents per share, author called his broker and told him to sell. By his reckoning he had made $100 in 24 hours. When author talked to his broker again he said, "Why did you decide to take a loss?" He gently explained to me that the broker's commission for buying 10,000 shares was $50, and for reselling the shares next day it was another $50. In addition, there were transfer taxes on the sale. He was delighted if he made 2 points. He often owned 25 to 30 stocks at one time. When I added up the values of the bad stocks he was holding and found that he had lost almost $3,000. He had not noticed that he was losing an average of $100 a week. After this author think of a system to make good profits in the market and he bought some subscriptions. Then also he was suffering from regular losses, after which he decided to quit the Canadian stock market and came back to New York. By the end of 1953 his $11,000 came down to $5,800. Along with this the chapter 1 ends, and in the next video we will continue the story of the author. For that, bye.